Those women out there who sacrifice it all, day in, day out, against all the odds. Women like this.
Meghan Markle probably thought she was setting the stage for a powerful return. After the polarizing reactions to season 1 of With Love, Meghan, many assumed she'd come back with a refined, more audience-friendly approach. A chance to reset, to show vulnerability with humility, and maybe even reconnect with the viewers who once supported her journey from royalty to media mogul. But that's not what happened. Instead, season 2 of her Netflix series ignited a wave of backlash so intense that even some of her most die-hard fans began distancing themselves.
Rare video of her daughter Lilibet playing with her auntie Serena Williams. A revealing and candid new People magazine cover story about life at home with Harry.
It's recording.
Okay.
And this time, it wasn't over palace drama or tabloid scandal. It was her own words, her tone, her choices, and the glaring disconnect between the show's message and its audience's expectations. This wasn't a train wreck in slow motion. It was a full-speed derailment in the middle of a Netflix kitchen set. And what's more shocking? It was entirely avoidable. Things began unraveling when Meghan used the premiere to announce her new mission for season 2.
Eggs out of a free-range chicken's backside with her bare hands before presumably sprinkling some flower petals on them to feed to her kids who've had a hard day of being looked after by the nanny in their other mansion.
Rather than easing into heartfelt stories or relatable life moments, she jumped headfirst into what could only be described as a parenting sermon. Not only did she claim to be guiding both mothers and fathers, but she delivered the line with the kind of conviction usually reserved for political speeches, not cooking shows. It was as if she believed she had been appointed the moral compass of the modern parent, right there between recipes and throw pillows. Viewers, expecting cozy comfort and maybe a little lifestyle inspo, were instead confronted with what felt like a crash course in how not to connect with your audience. Social media lit up with comments calling the segment preachy, awkward, and unnecessarily judgmental. Even Netflix's internal screenings.
And a brand new Martha Stewart-ish lifestyle series.
Let's go.
This is the reinvention of Meghan Markle.
This is what I do, and I haven't been able to share it with you.
The Duchess just rebranded her American Riviera Orchard brand as ever.
Held with friendly audiences, returned cringe-heavy feedback. One reviewer reportedly described it as watching a parenting PSA with a side of quinoa. But Meghan didn't stop with parenting lectures. She leaned into the idea that her show should be a platform, not just for her voice, but for political discourse. And that's when things truly went off the rails. She booked California Governor Gavin Newsom for an episode that tried to pivot from comfort food to climate policy. Vice President Kamala Harris appeared to discuss educational equity with all the warmth of a Senate hearing. These moments didn't enrich the show, they confused it. The segments weren't informative enough to satisfy political viewers and too serious to fit a lifestyle audience. What was once branded as soft escapism suddenly felt like forced activism, awkwardly wedged between scenes of Meghan fluffing pillows and baking gluten-free muffins. Instead of shaping culture, the show became a case study in how not to mix genres. Somewhere between the lectures and lifestyle fluff, Meghan made a fatal misstep. She began using the show to clap back at her critics.
Oh my gosh, Meghan Markle is insufferable. She's as popular as getting hardcore chafing during the first kilometre of a marathon. All you working mums out there having a hard time juggling your career and parents.
And not subtly. In several episodes, she addressed the trolls and the toxic voices that have hounded her online and in the press. Rather than brushing off the noise, she directly confronted it, labeling her critics as ignorant and implying they were simply too unenlightened to understand her mission. What might have worked on a podcast or a social media post came off completely tone-deaf in a Netflix special. Instead of empowerment, it felt like retaliation. Viewers weren't inspired, they were uncomfortable. Commentators pounced. Headlines called it a personal blog disguised as a lifestyle show. Even neutral fans noted that it felt less like entertainment and more like a televised diary entry. Then came the moment that sent shockwaves across the internet. During what was meant to be a heartfelt monologue about societal pressure and parenting expectations, Meghan declared that uneducated citizens shouldn't be raising children without proper guidance.
And today dropped her new Netflix series, With Love, Meghan.
What? This is probably one of the most glamorous moments of my life.
Celebrity friends, chefs,
That is so good.
We family now.
and even her husband, Prince Harry, join in. But he's only in the final episode.
Oh, there we go.
As Meghan shares an intimate look at her life in Montecito. Kinda. The show was shot in a rented $6 million mansion near her actual home.
Within minutes, the clip was ripped and reposted with fury. Reactions ranged from disbelief to outrage. Hashtags trended. Even outlets that normally tread carefully around royal-adjacent news called the comment elitist, classist, and astonishingly out of touch. It wasn't just tone-deaf, it was alienating. For someone who's publicly decried privilege and exclusivity, the comment felt like a betrayal of her own messaging. Fans, critics, and casual observers all found themselves asking, how did she not see this coming? The internet doesn't forget. And this line? It became the defining soundbite of a series gone sideways. While the public backlash was raging, chaos was quietly unfolding behind the scenes. Insiders revealed that production had become a nightmare of constant rewrites, direction changes, and creative tension. Producers were reportedly pleading with Meghan to shift gears.
I mean, how relatable is that, eh? You're a single mum of two in Basingstoke. You've just come in off the night shift and you see one of your kids outside eating worms.
To lighten the tone, refocus the content, and bring back the warmth that made the original pitch appealing. She refused. Sources said Meghan believed she was delivering something revolutionary, that her show was changing the conversation. But every new direction felt more forced, less focused, and increasingly off-brand. Netflix responded by scaling back its involvement. Promotion was slashed. Internal discussions about pulling or editing episodes gained momentum. What had started as a high-profile series was now a quiet headache for a streaming giant. Even the show's most basic elements began to feel hollow. Some of the dishes Meghan presented as deeply personal were quickly identified by food fans as near duplicates of well-known recipes from other celebrity chefs. A stew said to be inspired by her childhood.
I mean, how relatable is that, eh? You're a single mum of two in Basingstoke. You've just come in off the night shift and you see one of your kids outside eating worms.
Nearly identical to a Rachel Ray segment from 2011. Her lasagna, a clear match with a popular plant-based recipe from YouTube. And then came the cameos. Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris appeared in stilted, contextless interviews that felt more like political favors than entertainment. The conversations were shallow, the transitions jarring. The result? Awkward silence across social media. Nothing about it felt organic. It was all curated, polished, and painfully forced. Data doesn't lie. After the third episode, Netflix saw a dramatic dip in viewer engagement. The audience that had tuned in out of curiosity simply didn't stick around. They either dropped the series entirely or skipped ahead to watch the most controversial clips. Internal analytics revealed plummeting retention rates and widespread disinterest, rare for a show attached to such a high-profile name. Now, there are whispers that Netflix won't greenlight a third season, no matter how hard Meghan campaigns. Her team is reportedly exploring independent funding options, podcast relaunches, or even migrating to YouTube.
I was very busy last night, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah. You were watching the Duchess of Sussex's latest Netflix series, which has had very mixed reviews, but you really enjoyed it, didn't you?
OK, here's where I come clean, Emily. I didn't watch a single second.
But one thing is clear. With Love, Meghan was meant to be her masterpiece. Instead, it became a cautionary tale about what happens when celebrity, ego, and poor messaging collide. Meghan could have won people over by just being human, but instead of charm, she served condescension. And in the world of streaming, where audiences have endless choices, the quickest way to lose them is to pretend you've already figured everything out.